why isn't the church saying these things? Are they not up with the latest education in this area? Are they trying to manipulate and just hold the traditions and don't want to go with the truth? Or is my pastor just not educated on these things? This time of year is filled with documentaries, articles, and podcasts with titles like What Really Happened 2,000 Years Ago, or The Untold Story of Christmas, or The Historical Jesus. And these articles and documentaries and things will have scholars as a part of it, right? People who are proficient in their field, and they're telling us facts that we don't hear in the church. And what this causes people to do is start to turn away from the church because they're sitting there going, well, why isn't the church saying these things? Are they not up with the latest education in this area? Are they trying to manipulate and just hold the traditions and don't want to go with the truth? Or is my pastor just not educated on these things? Right? And so they start to pull away because, well, the experts are saying this and my church is saying something else. So I just wanted to cover just two things to be watchful for when you have these so-called scholars that are found in these documentary articles or being quoted in podcasts, making claims that are different than what you've heard within the church. And the first one is recognize that many times, even though these people are proficient in their fields, the vast majority of the information they're giving is their mere opinion. And they're usually pretty honest on this. They're not trying to hide it, just sometimes we don't catch it when they're saying it. So they'll use phrases like, we think, what probably happened. Right? Well, they're not giving you evidence for what they're saying there. They're just telling you their opinion of what transpired. Another phrase that they'll use a lot is, most scholars agree. Right? Well, again, that's not an evidence. That's just giving a numbers, playing the numbers game. Now, that means that there's legitimacy here. Hey, a lot of people that are educated in this area are thinking this. That's worthy of me investigating, but it doesn't prove anything. Right? There was a time in history where most scientists believed that the sun revolved around the earth. Well, obviously that was not true, right? So just because most scientists thought it didn't make it true. And so we got to be careful of that. Because many times they're coming in with some kind of a standard that they believe above and beyond the thing that they're studying. And this is what we would call a bias, right? And everybody has this. But depending on what that bias is going to determine how you read the facts, right? And a lot of these scholars that are being quoted in these sources are ones who don't see the Bible as a reliable historical document, but look at it as myth. And so when they read something that they don't want to affirm that doesn't fall in line with their worldview, they just chalk it up to myth. And therefore, they're going to come away with different conclusions than somebody that looks at it and says, wait, this is an eyewitness account, and it's a historical document of these eyewitness accounts. Therefore, I need to put a lot of validity into what this says, and it's true unless I can prove it otherwise, versus the other way that looks at it as myth and says it's false unless I find something that can verify it, right? And so they're bringing the standard into it. An example that I've seen recently on the Historical Jesus documentary was there is a scholar who was in the New Testament department. He was a professor of this college in the New Testament, and it was a prominent university, and he claimed that the Gospels proclaim that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but most scholars agree that Jesus was born and raised in Nazareth. Now, he didn't give justification of why him and most scholars reject Jesus being born in Bethlehem, though the Bible says that. They gave justifications why they believed he was raised in Nazareth, which would make sense. That is what the Bible proclaims, that he was born in Bethlehem but raised in Nazareth. But for whatever reason, they chose to reject the part where he was born in Bethlehem. Right? Was it because, well, most kids where they're born and is the same place they're raised, so they said, that's not needed, the Bethlehem account in the Bible? I don't know. They didn't say, but for whatever reason, they decided to reject that. But again, it wasn't based on fact. It was just based on some opinion of the vast majority of these scholars to reject that piece. So that's the first one. Many times it's just they're sharing their opinion. The second one is sometimes they do bring forth facts, and sometimes They are facts, and sometimes it's more of a story or a narrative that's being in the place of facts. And so the second one covers both of those, whether it's a fact they're giving or it's really a narrative in place of it. And just understand that sometimes the facts or the story that's created don't always have to point to the direction and the interpretation they're trying to make it to say. Many times facts can really point in either direction, and it takes more information to really narrow it down. And these documentaries will give just little tidbits. Well, there's this information and it points in this direction. And the dots do connect. The problem is there's another possibility that they didn't even mention, that if you heard it, you would go, oh, that's true, it could be that way as well. And so we have to be very careful of that. Quick example of that is, depending on the bias you have, if you are from an evolutionary mindset, you could create the narrative of going, flowers are bright and vibrant, that way bees are attracted to them to pollinate them so they can continue on as a species. Well, we can take those same facts, and from a Christian creative standpoint, we could say that God created flowers bright and vibrant for humanity to enjoy and to show the glory of God's abilities in creation. And therefore, he designed the bee to be attracted to bright and vibrant things in order to keep the flower going, in order to provide the needs of the bee. You notice it's the same information, but the facts can go in different direction. One is the flower is changing according to the needs or the design of the bee, or the other one is the design of the flower is for something totally different, and the bee is changed in regards to the flower. Right? And so we just got to be careful that sometimes information can sound like it's the only answer until you hear another alternative, and you go, wait, there's more than one way to look at this. So just be careful of that with these scholars and their facts. Sometimes the information they're giving can sound so good until you hear the other side. So don't let them trip you up.